Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Adam Bergman's Money Makers, where we talk everything about stocks, personal finance, and hopefully financial growth for you and your family in the future. Sometimes it's not about an individual stock, it's more about understanding the broader market. One of the best things you can do as an investor, whether it's stocks, whether it's crypto, whether it's real estate, or any other asset class, is try to understand the events that are happening, the events that happened in the past, and possibly predict by connecting the dots what's going to happen in the future. I'm a firm believer of theoretical investing. For me, a theoretical investor theorizes what can happen, and if it happens, how do you capitalize or how do you go into defensive mode because of what's happening? Well, what event happened in the last couple of years that caused a catastrophic pandemic? Obviously, I'm talking about COVID-19. In this video, I wanted to go over an article that reviews a lot of these growth stocks or stay-at-home stocks, and it does a fantastic comparison of the size they were in 2019, right before the pandemic, the maximum size of the company at their peak during the pandemic, and how big they are right now as of April 2022. It's a superb article. I did not read it yet. I just read the first page, and I thought it would be a very good learning opportunity for not only myself, but for you people at home. I did invest in some of these stocks that I saw, and it's gonna be a really cool lesson. If you feel that this video is for you, please stick around, and as always, I'm gonna give you my commentary to make this original and not just me reading a screen. With that said, if you feel in my show, please give me the likes, please give me the shares, and please give me the subscribe, because it helps the almighty YouTube algorithm to get me seen by various other people. And although I love the people watching my show, I do wanna extend this family to a broader, wide range of people from all over the country and all over the world. And if I didn't earn that like, share, and subscribe, please hit up the like, share, and subscribe if and only if I brought some value to you today. This is an article from Wall Street Journal. I pay a lot of money for Wall Street Journal, Barron's, Bloomberg, Seeking Alpha, and a bunch of other publications and magazines, both digital and analog, in an attempt to bring some added value to you, my beloved subscribers, and my beloved watchers of Adam Bergman's Money Makers. This is an article from Wall Street Journal. It says, how the pandemic's hot stocks cooled. Companies such as Zoom and Etsy face new challenges as people leave their homes and return to work. One of the key problems, or one of the big debates was, are people ever going to return to work now that they're used to working from home? People said that nobody will ever go back to work. People are enjoying it too much working from home. As a matter of fact, companies like Facebook and other Palo Alto companies said you never have to return back to an actual office. It's your choice. You can work from an office or you can work from home. I think people severely underestimated how much people hate each other. Let me explain. You cannot have a husband and wife, 2-3 children, all in the same house 24/7. It does not work like that. I know a lot of people that have the option to work from home, but you know what they do? Between the two people that could work from home, the person that has to work from home stays home, and the person that has the option and can go into the office, well, they go to the office, because you could only see somebody's face all that much. Market capitalization as of April 2022 is in the blue. In the hollow is the pandemic peak. That means as big as the company ever was. And the dotted line is at the end of 2019, which is right before the pandemic actually hit. PayPal, currently $100 billion. At the end of 2019, it was actually bigger than it is today, which means that before the pandemic hits, PayPal was actually bigger than it is today. And at the peak, it was $362 billion, which means that it was around 3.6 times bigger than it is now. Netflix is a big dub. It's hitting so many losses. $306 billion at its peak, currently $95 billion, and it is by far smaller than it was in 2019. Netflix actually just came out with earnings. Their last two earnings, if I'm not mistaken, were terrible. I think they were down 38% last time I checked. I don't want to lie off the top of my head in their last earnings. They don't have a clear and coherent plan to keep growing. It's not to say that Netflix is not an amazing company. It's just to say that they cannot reach too many more subscribers. And that's the problem. They can't really give you added value as a shareholder because their whole business revolves around you, the subscriber, paying for a subscription-based show. The only other thing they can do is offer ads. The problem is if they offer ads for a subscription-based model, that's a problem and they're going to lose a lot of subscribers. So it's kind of like a give or take. Moderna is an interesting company. At the peak, it's 195 billion. Currently, the company is at 56 billion, but it is by far a better value and deal than it was pre-pandemic. I actually invested in Moderna. It made me a huge play. I invested in Moderna in February, right when the pandemic started. I remember I was in Mexico, and everybody was laughing at me. They're like, Adam, there's nothing to this. I'm like, no, this pandemic is going to shut down the world. And it was very obvious to me. All you got to see is the multiplication numbers of how quickly people were getting infected. And then you just got to put into account, guys, there's airplanes. And if somebody sneezes in an airplane, a lot of people are going to get sick. But I don't want to get demonetized or get this video taken off, so I don't want to talk too much about COVID. It happened to me before. I invested in Moderna. I cleared a quick 7 figures on Moderna, and I sold out. I think I was buying Moderna at $60. I ended up selling at around $240 to $320 range. Depends on which block I sold. I think Moderna went all the way up to $500 a share. Moderna is interesting. The COVID lockdown actually gave them a platform so people now understand the technology that they have. I definitely think Moderna is a great company. I just think that there's a lot better buys right now, but I would love to get another share of Moderna. I would love to get another, investment block in Moderna, a large investment block. I think I got like 1 share left. I don't know why I never sold it. But at one point I was up like 500 something percent on Moderna. When I was selling, I think it was up between like 200 and 300%. So I didn't ride it all the way to the top. Okay. Zoom Video Communications, maximum 161 billion. Currently 30 billion, but they are bigger than they were before the pandemic. As you can see, Moderna is a lot bigger than they were pre-pandemic. Why? Because Moderna is not a stay-at-home stock. Moderna is a whole platform that's revolutionizing the way we think about medicine. Instead of using spike proteins, protein synthesis, they use something called messenger RNA, which instead of injecting something into your body that's foreign, they actually tell your body what to do, if that makes sense. Carvana, it's right around the size that it was right before pre-pandemic. Peloton went to $48 billion. Currently, it's at $7 billion. It's just a bit smaller than it was pre-pandemic. Peloton is like those really expensive bikes and really expensive equipment that you can exercise at home. It's a novelty. It's not a stay-at-home thing. It's just a novelty. And people are going back to work. They don't need that. Etsy is a buy online. I don't think it's a stay-at-home. I think it did grow during the pandemic, but it is a lot bigger than it was pre-pandemic. Clorox is right around the size that it was pre-pandemic. Domino's Pizza, also right around the size it was pre-pandemic. I don't even think, it's good that they got a little shot up, but Domino's Pizza is Domino's Pizza. It's almost like a legacy stock. It's going to do what it's going to do. And Campbell stock, nothing really changed. They went to 16 billion, and now they're 14 billion, and they're right around the size as they were in pre-pandemic. I don't know why they're even on this list. Guys, the article goes on, and then it gives you their, fates of all of these companies and where they're going to go in the future. I think it's a little boring to read, and it's unnecessary. I basically gave you a quick synapse by reading that front screen. And I want you guys to take some key takeaways from this. Because I preemptively thought about what was going to happen in the future with this pandemic, I was able to hone in and identify which company can possibly benefit from this. Yes, I took a big gamble on Moderna because they came out with this new crazy technology called mRNA. Well, I did some research, and I believe that Moderna was a fantastic company with a great technology. Also, Moderna's been around for quite a while. They were just flying under the radar, and their technology would have never gotten approved had it not been for COVID and there was a necessity. Why? All of the red tape that this government has when it comes to medication, legalities, jurisdictions, and regulations. Because of COVID, that kind of fast-forwarded Moderna. point is, right now I'm looking at a company called Palantir. I'm preemptively investing into Palantir. I said it. When Russia invaded Ukraine, this is going to change the entire landscape of Europe as we know it for the foreseeable decades. No matter what happens in Ukraine, there's going to be a need to arm yourself in Europe, not only physically, but also digitally. Now, I'm not saying Palantir is going to win this entire race, but I believe that a large sum of money, a large sum, not just a small sum, of the money that's going to be spent is going to be funneled into Palantir Technologies, because Palantir works with governments. Palantir has been around for 2 years on the stock market but Palantir has been around as a company for 19 years, which means they have 17 years out of 19 years working just with governments. They work with all the three-letter governments in the United States, and they only work with the United States allies, nobody else. Well, the problem is business kind of dries up when you only work with the United States allies. And although war is always bad, war is actually good for business. Not just for Palantir, but a lot of companies. And a lot of those companies are actually stationed in America. A lot of those wartime companies are actually in America. I told you, CrowdStrike is going to do good. I told you, Lockheed Martin is going to do good. I told you a company called Kratos, which deals with drones, is going to do good. And I told you Palantir is going to do good. Well, lo and behold, I gave you 2 upgrades on Palantir just yesterday that say that they're upgraded because of the war in Ukraine. Because I'm not the only one that foresees what's going to happen. I was just the first one that foresaw what was going to happen. Same thing with Tesla. A lot of people preemptively invested in Tesla, seeing what's going to happen in the future, this need for EV, this like green compliance type stuff. So if you're going to get anything out of this video, please, if you're an investor, don't invest blindly. Invest with purpose. What is that purpose? Theorize before you put your money into something. Now, I'm not saying this is the only way you should invest. I'm not even telling you what way to invest because I'm just an entertainer and educator at best. All I could do is kind of give you information, and then you have to stand on your own 2 feet and make your decision as an adult. I'm just trying to explain to you, not all events are created equally, and not all events are forever. You have to preemptively really think, hey, is it really going to be stay at home forever? Or are we underestimating the amount that people hate each other? If you take into account how much people hate each other, and I'm using a very strong word, but you understand what I mean, then you can understand that stay at home was not actually going to be stay at home forever. One of the reasons why I think NVIDIA is such a monster is a lot of people left the open market to work from home. So people are like, oh, there's less demand for chips. When people started working at home, there was a lot of buying of NVIDIA GPU chips because they're the best. I made a video about it yesterday. I'm going to link it at the end of this video. You should definitely watch it if you missed it. It's a fantastic video explaining to you NVIDIA. All of us use NVIDIA chips in our computers. Well, all of us that want a good computer. Second place is AMD, third place is Intel, but they don't really compete or compare against NVIDIA. Well, now I believe that people will be going back to work, and what's going to happen? A lot of offices are going to have to upgrade their computers. Why? Nobody has upgraded computers in the last 2 years. Individual people did. Me, you, yes, but not corporations. Why? Corporations did not want to spend money in renovations. So while there was an article yesterday that said NVIDIA is going to lose business because there's a less demand for chips, I believe NVIDIA is actually going to increase business continuously because I believe now there's going to be a spike in demand by mega corporations that's going to overhaul their entire office because now you have more and more people funneling back into work. Now, I'm over dramatizing this and I'm making it sound a lot bigger than it is because in my mind, I don't think it's like a huge event, but I am preemptively thinking and taking into account that I don't believe that NVIDIA's business is going to drop. It's going to counterbalance the demand from home. Do you understand what I mean? That they're losing, that they said that there's no pent-up demand for chips. So that is what a theoretical investor is. That is what I try to do. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. Never do I give advice. And if you got anything in this video at all, I urge you, please give me the likes, give me the shares, and give me the subscribes so that I can grow this channel. We are currently at 380 subscribers. This channel is massive. Hopefully I can get to 400 very, very soon. Thank you so much and have a great weekend, one and all.